you, Mr. Mancini. Is there any questions for the witness? Senator Bates.
Greg, you mentioned one of the projects is the overflow system. And what were some of the other ones you talked about your trades have been involved in?
Well, all the new skyline of Providence, I said, which is the Masonic Temple, G-Tech, the Twin Towers, the Western.
Okay, the majority of this project is going to be on the water, although there'll be some fabrication on land. Are there any projects that occurred, like building a terminal in the middle of the bay?
We've done bridges. I mean, that's the only, but no terminals, no.
Thank you.
But this project will be an all-union project, and for most of the trades, the trade that's going to have the most skill, Tim Byrne talked about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions for the witness? Mr. Mancini, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate your testimony.
Yep.
The next witness we have is from the McAllister Towing Company, Captain Gary Oliveira. Captain Oliveira.
My name's Gary Oliveira. I represent McAllister Towing of Narragansett Bay, doing business as Providence Steamboat. That's been in business privately owned for 150 years. I'm in favor of Weaver's Cove LNG project. What Weaver's Cove would mean to me would be they anticipate 70 LNG tank shipments a year. That's 140 transits. Each transit will require 4 modern Z-drive tugboats. That will increase, will enable me to hire more people and have better equipment to service my other work throughout the bay. And that's what McAllister does, provide tug assist and escorting in Narragansett Bay. It's a tremendous amount of business from McAllister Towing, and it will allow us to grow our business as needed. We'll upgrade equipment to the new conventional standards as required. McAllister has an excellent safety record. We'll make sure that any LNG ships coming into Narragansett Bay are brought into port safely, as they are in other ports that McAllister services. We do other LNG escorting and docking in other ports. The users of Narragansett Bay have successfully coexisted with commercial shipping traffic for decades, including ships requiring the same safety and security restrictions as LNG tankers. That's pretty much all I have to say. I'm a supporting trade, and which, you know, I support many other businesses, you know, shipyards to grocery stores to paint supply houses, and that's my position.
Captain, I want to first thank you very much. Your testimony was very succinct. I was going to actually joke with my colleague, Senator De Palma. I have the record for like 8 or 10 of the longest questions ever asked. And nobody's been challenging me except for this year. He's been challenging my record. And so I'm going to have to develop longer and longer questions in order to, and normally I end my questions with like, isn't that so, or something like that. But again, so I thank you very much for your, I have a couple of questions, but did any of the members of the, let me go to Senator Metz first.
Yeah, just how many, you said increase the workforce, how many do you anticipate?
Well, you know, this project requires 4 assist tugs for each ship. We have 3 to 4 crew members on each tug. Their salaries are from $40,000 to $90,000 a year. They're highly trained, skilled individuals. You know, I have approximately 40 employees, from watchmen to 7 captains. So it varies. My employees have a varied.
So I mean, you increase what? Give me an idea. 5, 10?
Pardon me?
How many? If approved and it goes through the 70?
Probably 9.
9. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Senator Palmer?
Captain, with regards to assist for these types of ships, have you assisted these types of ships before, this size?
Personally, LNG ships, personally, no. I've ridden on them, I've trained with some of the Boston tugs. Their tugs are similar to ours, they're doing the LNG ships.
What do you see as some of the issues potentially of escorting?
Pardon me?
What do you see as potentially some of the challenges in escorting a ship of this size?
I see none, no challenges.
Okay. Thank you.
There's nothing peculiar about these ships.
Thank you.
If I was on the boat with you, I'd love that attitude. Let me go to Senator Bates first.
Thank you, Captain. What's the beam on the ships we're talking about? The beam, how wide are they?
I'm not in the position to answer that. Maybe somebody else here is. The exact size of the ships that I know they reduced this. There was talk about reducing the size of them. I wouldn't.
No, what I was trying to get at, there's been a lot of talk about the safety going onto the bridges and trying to figure out how much space you got between the piers and the Mount Hope and the piers and the Newport Bridge as opposed to the beam of the ship. I can ask somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Sosnowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for sharing your testimony with us, Captain. I was wondering, how do you envision the bay if this was approved and we have the big LNG tankers coming in with the tugs around it? How do you envision it, for instance? I can't pin you down exactly. We don't know exactly how many ships would be coming in. But for instance, like, let's say in a normal week, how do you envision the traffic as it is now, for instance, on a summer or a spring or a summer day, or even a winter day? But let's say, for instance, when the bay is the busiest with recreational boaters there. How do you envision it? That it will just be the tugs and the tanker, or how do you envision it?
Well, we escort, say, the LPG ships inbound now. It wouldn't be much different from that. There's a zone, a safety zone around it, a moving safety zone, so we're not disrupting the bay.
Because that's one of the points that we've heard from a lot of the opponents, that basically what's going on in the bay now as far as yachting and recreational boating and even fishing would be disrupted with these larger tankers coming in. And I'm just wondering how much room is there, and with the tugboats and the tanker, you don't envision it being any much different than it is now?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
They have these sailing regattas and safety. They close sections of the bay, and we work around that. Yeah.
So you don't see it that it would be disruptive then?
Not at all.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could, I do want to ask you a couple of questions. Do you want to ask a question, Senator?
Yeah.
Senator.
Just following up on what Senator Sosnowski, part of the testimony we've heard either in committee or people that have communicated to us directly from recreational boaters for the most part, and people who support that industry, is their loss of jobs. And have you discussed with people within the boating industry, recreational or otherwise, about your gain of jobs versus what they consider a loss of jobs?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
We've had previous testimony, I'm sure many of us have had letters or phone calls on the fact of the impact on recreational boating, and that charters and so forth, the disruption would be significant enough that the recreational boating industry would actually lose jobs. And you're talking about a gain of 9 jobs. They've approached us with a loss of a much greater loss than 9. And have you discussed it? I mean, it's a boating industry. You share vendors with them, and
Yes, you're saying boating industry like what?
recreational, charter, fishing,
Well, these
marinas that deal with recreational boating.